share this joyous occasion with Reverend Rudy. He has laid his heart out in this book. He has laid his heart out for the poor. He has laid his heart out for the needy. And more than that, he has laid out God's heart for how we are to operate as kingdom people in giving. Proverbs 19:17 says, if you help the poor, you are lending to God, and He will repay you. And I am blown away because just the thought of lending to God, that everything that we give, we are giving to God. And Matthew, the New Testament, corroborates that. It says that Jesus was telling them, if you do it for the least of these, you do it unto me. You do it unto me. So this book is a challenge. Reverend Daly talked about its structure and how well written it is. I affirm that. The structure is good for personal devotion and for group sessions. The Fia talked about the youth perspective and the challenge that they too have something to offer. I affirm that, and I say that it is for all of us. We all have something to offer. Mr. Batiste talked about the fact that giving is an act of faith. I affirm that, and it is there threaded through everything that Reverend Rudy has written. For me, this is a challenge personally and a challenge to the church. Because while it is written in language that pulls you in, suddenly something jumps out at you and you're not realizing that the Holy Spirit is shaking you or pointing at you or saying, this is something we should be doing, I should be doing, the church should be doing. So I am taking a personal look at it. Sometimes I will tell you I skip over certain parts of the Bible. I know there are things that are there, like the main text, but I don't reflect on them necessarily. Those may be active, kingdom, outreach, love in action parts. And sometimes as well, I skip over needs. There may be something in a conversation that happens and I realize maybe too late that this was my opportunity to give my lunch. And I didn't, because the conversation moved to something else. This book challenges me. I may come to church and realize somebody is wearing the same thing that they wore last week and the week before. And then I get involved in some ministry activity and do not reach out and do not give. And so this book challenges me. Now, maybe I'm the only person who wrestles with those kinds of things, but I wonder if you could relate as we enter into the Christmas season, and you may be in a conversation with someone, and you're talking about what you're going to buy, and how much ham you have, and how much turkey you have, and what you're going to do, and how you buy 3 sets of curtains, because you didn't know which one you wanted, and somebody is not joining in the conversation, and you would want to stop and think, maybe what you have for Christmas, they don't have, and that might be our opportunity, but we miss it. And so my question from this book, because there's so many things in it, is how do I see and how do I follow through? That's a question that Reverend Rudy will make us ask ourselves in this book. You know, it's like, it had me thinking of someone who is paralyzed. Something has severed the spinal cord, and so the head is sending a message, but the limbs can't act on it. And so this book challenges us to get the prompt, to see the prompt, and to act. So God used Reverend Rudy in writing this book, Give Jesus Something to Bless, to show us that giving is an imperative and it is a discipline. It's something that we need to do daily. It's a mindset that we have to have, that we are here to give. It is a practice, and we have to do it, and from getting the message to actually doing the giving, it's all about partnering with Jesus. The central text of the book and it is about Jesus feeding the 5,000. I have read that many times and really never been struck by the boy. I've been struck by the awesomeness of the outcome of the miracle, but not by the participant in the miracle. And so it blows my mind from this book that I can be a participant in a miracle. Each disciple, it says in, let me quote here, right on the first page, each disciple of Jesus should make the effort to consciously remind him or herself of the basic human needs that are the same wherever humans dwell on earth. We would be grossly remiss to be so absorbed in doing all the things we refer to as Christian ministry that we fail to be sensitive to the basic human needs that surround us. So this boy somehow was able to see these needs. He was in a crowd with many people, and Reverend Rudy points out, nobody else brought their lunch, but a little boy brought his lunch. So for me, I asked, how am I prompted to give my lunch? And I realized that it wasn't the fact that the boy was in the crowd, Reverend Rudy. The fact is that the boy was in the crowd close to Jesus. So he could hear when Jesus said, how are we going to feed the people? That is for me. I need to be close to Jesus so I can participate in the miracle. And then the bigger issue for me is the follow through. Sometimes I get busy. Sometimes I say, well, if like the example I gave, somebody is wearing the same thing over and over to church, maybe I might offend them if I say something and offer to give. But Reverend Rudy says, stop and look at the actions of this boy. Because I mean, really, are we really going to feed 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread? No, impossible. Yet he didn't stop to think about that. He gave his lunch. Page 18 says, we must be like this boy and step forward. Self-preservation, and I have plenty shame, cannot be allowed to keep us from giving Jesus something to bless. And the thing for me is the immediacy of his response, because I get very busy. So I might even forget what I heard, forget what I saw, and move on to something else. Reverend Rudy challenges us. When we see it, when we see the prompt, we act on it. We partner. I think of the Samaritan, because these are the places that my mind went. Everybody saw the prompt. The priest saw the prompt. The Sadducee saw the prompt. There's a man lying beat up in the drain. Only the Samaritan responded to the prompt and acted. I have to act. I have to hear from the Holy Spirit, submit, respond in faith and discipline. I have to develop a discipline of giving. And so, you may need to do the same. Don't second guess it, don't get busy, don't forget. Act on the promptings of the Holy Spirit. Reverend Rudy has reminded me that giving to fill basic human needs is no less spiritual than lifting my voice in worship or praying. I am here, we are here to manifest the kingdom on earth, and so I am here to give. The church is here to manifest the kingdom on earth, so the church must give. And we have to adopt, this is what this book says, an uncompromising, radical stance about giving. Staying close to God and hearing his voice, acting immediately in faith, is what allows me the divine privilege, the privilege of participating in a miracle through my giving. Imagine our communities, our churches, our families, our schools, if we would adopt the principle of giving, the discipline of giving, and give Jesus something to bless. I encourage you to get this book. You will not be sorry, and it will change your life.